Welcome to Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas. Backed by popular demand is the intrepid Drake Bailey for another question and answer session. You may want to make some popcorn and buckle your seatbelt. This one will be another wild ride. Here is your host, Gail of Gaia, with her guest, Drake Bailey.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and I have with us Drake, and I have a little announcement that I'm going to make. And Drake says hi. Say hi, Drake.
Hey, hi, howdy doody.
Okay, now on this announcement, it's very important. So we have a message from Saint Germain, and I will read this to you. And here it goes. There's a worldwide vigil to transform your life and the world with the violet flame. Use this spiritual energy to transmute negative conditions in your life, help your family, uplift your community, and change the world. Change the course of history. Join the Violet Flame Vigil. And this is just a little statement from Saint Germain. Is as you invoke that violet flame by the power of God within you, you shall see planetary changes. I call for millions to join in the call to the violet flame. And that was way back in 1991 that he said that. This time it's going to be on 2/20/2020.
Oh, hold on a minute. It's on 2 what?
2/20/2020. That's
2020. All right.
Yeah, isn't that something?
What time?
Yeah, all 24 hours. The Violet Flame service will be broadcast simultaneously as a Zoom webinar and live streaming on YouTube.
But the question is, what time does it start?
Okay, the broadcast will run continuously from 12 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time.
Okay.
Until midnight Greenwich Mean Time. Live streams can participate anytime during the 24 hours. Our goal is to maintain a continuous radiation of the violet flame, unconditional forgiveness, mercy, transmutation, erythralization, the pink flame, unconditional love, kindness, patience, and compassion, and the white flame, ascension, purification, illumination, and the raising of consciousness for 24 hours. The company of heaven will assist us. The need for earthly life stream bodies to work through are being requested.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the announcement, and I want Drake, show people how you do what you showed me.
Okay, first of all, you need to face east. I don't care what you got to do, figure that out. That's not my problem. But you face east. Now, here's the deal. Anybody who knows anything about the correct alignment of a human being to the creation knows that east is where you garner powers. Therefore, what you have to do is simply learn to do it correctly. Facing east, you put your elbows up slightly. You make your hands into palms. Bring them like this. Bring them together. Bring them down to your midsection. And then when you bring your hands back up, they should come right under your chin. And then you go,
Thank you, Greg.
That's only one of the variations of spiritual alignment needed to be known. That's only one. Now, the other one is that when we do this vigil, face east. Figure out which way east is. It's not difficult. You can get a thingy on a map online if you need to do it that way. But face east. And what you want to do is not just go, you want to envision. You don't have to make a noise. It's up to you. You envision differential changes on a basic subliminal level by way of the, first of all, alignment of your chakras, which is what this does. Okay, it aligns your chakras. It also causes them to mitigate any differential that would be a problem. In other words, they're quite a little bit out of alignment or energy ain't quite. All that gets fixed when you do that. Now, number two, envision. Envisionment is interesting. everybody and their mother-in-law can get a picture. Now, sometimes these pictures ain't nice, like Great Aunt Matilda when she dropped her drawers by accident or whatever it may be. Okay, you walked in on Uncle Stinky in the bathroom because he didn't say nothing when you knocked on the door. There's a lot of things that, okay, so what this means is, though, that everybody has the capability to make a picture come up in their mind. What you want to see in your mind is what you want to receive in the reality that you are making, okay? This makes reality. And what it does is it can change things that are now a reality into the things that people would love to see. Now, I have certain pictures of people getting put in chains in a public venue and dragged off of the porch screaming and all lovely things. But this is not that type of a deal. What you want to do is, if your parakeet lost its feathers, you want to envision it growing new ones. Okay, the puppy dog don't want to act right. Envision it acting right. It doesn't have any reason to do so. It just will. Why? You just made it a reality. One of the auspices, one of the very special characteristics of humankind is to be able to foment, create, and cause to be the reality that they envision in their head. And there's a load, there is a load of ETs out there just love to be able to, I don't know, eat your brains or whatever it takes to get that. They want that badly. And guess what? They don't got it. The reason they don't got it is because they are not, and this is the key, some accidental procedure allowed certain things to be put into what we know as the Bible. Within it are a bunch of things that are absolutely, fully, and completely correct. One of those is that we are the crown of creation. And the reason it stipulates that is because we have the capacity for any and everything required for us to be the angelic race. Oh, yeah, consider of creation. We can run around and go, oh, you're sick? We can fix that. Take the person's hands. Come on, get up. As Jesus Christ said, stretch out thine hand. He took the guy's hand. Everything is fine. Okay. Leprosy falling off of people. You name it. Okay. These are stipulated as signs, miracles, and wonders. Okay. There's nothing really as miraculous about it as you think. All you did was make an absolute legal petition. Oh, this is called prayer. And prayer is a request. A request means ask. Ask is the word ato, which is a legal demand to the foundation of creation to comply with your wishes as they are beneficial to a whole bunch of people. Somebody other than yourself. Oh, I'd love to be able to be what I was when I was 35, 40 years old. But I'd rather see somebody not have a whole bunch of fun and games in their life. So therefore, I envision other different things. Why don't
we want it to be for the good of all humankind, for the highest good of all?
Yeah.
And that's what Christ himself said, doesn't the kingdom of God is within?
Nah, it's more than that. Well, I did biblical studies and word root studies for altogether something along 11 years. One of the people that I was blessed or privileged to know is one of the ones that's over there translating the Dead Sea Scrolls. This person knows their stuff. Oh. I questioned this person about certain things, and they said, well, yeah, I hadn't thought about that part of it. I said, well, this is Bullinger's, or this is this, or this is that. Anyway, what it boils down to is that if you put into use, like you do a pen or whatever, if you put into use in the correct format, anything that you can think of in terms of the betterment of mankind, such as people who are not hungry, people who have been fed are much easier to deal with. The problems, most of the problems that mankind has are made from their assumption of the meaning of their belief systems. It don't matter if it's Muslim, it don't matter if it's Hindu, it don't matter if it doesn't matter. Why? Because all of the oligarchs, these are the big money people, the people who have influence, got together and had a meeting about it. And they stipulated each and every last one right down to the finest detail. One of the main problems I have is the incorrect usage of a belief system for a control measure for that individual person or populace. It can be, and usually is, a whole lot worse than any kind of governmental problems you've ever run across in your whole existence. Now, as far as governmental problems, there's some fun and games coming that everybody's going to just jump up and down for joy about. A majority of the people that have been illegitimate, let's say, in terms of their conduct. And you can be in a public office, you can be a CEO somewhere, you can be whatever. They get some silver bracelets in the very near future. So we got to let this fun and games play out, and it is liable to be cut short. And the Democrats, of course, are going nuts. But irrespective of that, this thing is not going to last very long. That's something I've been told by people. Now, St. Germain has been told by me directly that we have collateral accounts to be released. And either St. Germain can fully facilitate, as in assist, push, whatever it takes, my friend Neil Keenan to, as I sent him a song, get her done. The ideology behind that is 2-3 things. One, no government gets a penny. No government gets a penny. Number two, we set up in country, and that can be any country on the planet, in country foundations. And these foundations handle funds from the general accounts towards the betterment of mankind in toto. In other words, you get a house, ain't got a floor, we'll put one in. You ain't got running water, we fix that. Okay, the whole of the ideology of a planet of people that, as wealthy as this planet is, not having something to eat is ridiculous. We're in the richest country in the world, and we've got hungry people.
Right, or people in tents on the side of the street. You know, that there's no excuse for that.
Well, yeah, there is. Some people choose to live that way because they do not want to be under a control mechanism, be it government or whatever. Now, that's about to be changed on a forceful basis, according to certain people I've talked to. They're going to get a supply, them little bitty houses, might be the size of a garage, give or take. These things are going to be fully outfitted with a full bathroom, a full kitchen, place to sleep. Bingo, the three main things for housing.
You'd be surprised how much that even if it's small, how much that would help somebody get back on their feet and be able to do something productive in the community and in society.
Well, they don't even need to be productive. They could be a guinea pig for study or something. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to look at that.
Productive in the sense that they're, people aren't looking down at them and judging them unfairly and unjustly.
You know why people look down at people that are homeless and living on the street?
They do.
Do you know why?
Oh, well, sure.
Why?
They think they're better than them, that they've worked hard.
No.
What is it then, Greg? What is it? Tell me.
Have you seen the piles of doo-doo on the sidewalk?
Where are they supposed to go?
Hey, hold on. I said, have you seen the piles of doo-doo on the sidewalk? If you have, you don't want to step in that. And you do not want to step on the person that did it because they might have more. And you don't want them squirting that up your leg. Okay? They're watching where they're going simply. That's it. Okay? They couldn't care less, just as you stipulated. You're right about that. But here's the thing. until each of us accepts other people, lesser, greater, whatever the case may be, to bring about the changes needed in order to facilitate a person wanting to change things, to move into the little house. Get out of the tent, move in here. I can give you a lock for the door. I mean, it's not difficult. Once you start seeing to the needs of people, they will follow whatever those remedies are. They got to be a real remedy. It can't be some kind of BS. Thou shalt. You're getting in that little house whether you like it or not. Stuff them in there and put a padlock on it. No, that's like putting them in jail. Well, no, you don't want to do that. But you could, and this is something that has been studied out. They could, under a lot of these interstate bridges and places that nobody else will live, put these little houses in place. Hook them up to the plumbing. Bingo. Now you got something going on. Number two, you have to put this person into a position of self-responsibility. You have to go to X and show up every Tuesday. I'll happily pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. You've heard Wimpy. Come on now. Okay, and that's the only requirement. You go to this place, and you get what it takes to function. Like food.
That's not exactly unconditional love, in my opinion, but
sure it is.
Would be surprised how people would step up if they had the basic needs of life.
You'll also be surprised how many tell you no.
Well, that's only because of the stipulations that are probably put on them.
Nope. No strings. No strings. All the food you want, nice, decent place to live, and they'll go, The reason they do is because they think, and this is a problem, this is the problem, they think that you're going to put them under some form of control, and they don't want that, and I don't blame them.
Exactly.
Okay, so the only requirement, the only stipulation, and this is for the individual's self-worth. Do you feel that you're worthy to eat? Do you feel that you're worthy to draw breath?
Well, you know what?
If you do, you come over here and meet me on the corner of such and such, and we'll and bring me a list of the things you need. We'll see about taking care of it. But the responsibility on an individual basis, get your butt up out of whatever toilet you're living in, clean off as best you can. I mean, you don't want to be offensive in public, even though they are. And require yourself, personal requirement, it's me, bringing it over to X, wherever that may be. Could be right down the block, could be just a few steps across the street. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you have to start building self-worth. And these people don't believe in it.
Well, you know what? But it's not that maybe it is that they don't believe in it, but part of it is they've been programmed to believe in it. They really have. We have cultural software programming that has created this kind of thinking in people. And it doesn't help them one single bit. And
exactly. What do you do with that? You have to start out small. Greatest journeys in life start with the first step.
Baby steps.
Yeah. And the baby step would be, you got to go down the block. You got to go up halfway up that block, then down the alley. And when you come to where the two alleys cross, that's where you need to be, and we'll meet you there. But we want you there at such and such a time. Okay, pick a time. Oh, say 9 o'clock. Does that work? Yeah. Okay.
You know, Drake, this is one of the areas where the violet flame will help on an individual basis if people are able to meditate on that very thought, because
but there's conditions that Saint Germain is not putting out, and one of those is that you have to, in order for a person to want to have a want, they have to see the capability of whatever their need is in relation to the want being fulfilled by something beyond themselves. That's That's the basis of this. Now, the problem with it is that it doesn't heal those who do not wish to be healed. I'd rather do coke. Shoot that up. Okay. You have to understand that two things. First of all, a person has to want to have a desire for, etc., whatever it may be. It doesn't matter how complex or simple, whatever. Number two, any individual, doesn't matter who they are, under the finest, best treatment systems and whatever available, will not respond any better than they have in the past if they don't want to.
Well, I gotta say something here. Some people think that about, people in the high recidivism rate in terms of crime in this country, or in terms of people getting in trouble and being thrown back in jail and so on.
Uh-huh.
In other countries where it's handled totally differently, the recidivism rate is way down. And part of that is because of this judgmental attitude, this idea that, people, I'm sorry, but I've had compassion for them. Once they become addicted and they have, it's an illness. I mean, it's a sickness that.
The person has to want to change that.
Well, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. They have to want to be healed or whatever, or they won't bother. Okay. The if you're talking about is they don't believe it. They have seen what the system does, and it ain't worth much. And I'm fully in agreement with that. But that does not mean necessarily that you can't cause change. Now we have something that some people can use in this vigil to change some of the basis for what's been going on. No, you don't throw money at it. That's the biggest glob of horse hockey I know of. In terms of helping somebody, you throw yourself at it, you put your skin in the game, then maybe you got something to talk to with these people. You might have to pitch a tent on the sidewalk and live with them for a while. You never know what the requirement's going to be. But if you put things in a correlation or relationship that this is real, okay, and we're really going to attempt to help.
Are you?
Okay? Well, maybe we're going to have to take fried chicken over to their tent for a while. Who knows?
Are you saying it's walk a mile in my shoes, actually?
No, it's even more than that. It's even more than that. You buy them a real comfortable pair of shoes first, and then you allow them, as the old saying goes. But you said you were carrying me, and I only see one set of tracks, and those are my tracks. And the Lord looks at the guy and says, "How do you think you were able to walk?" You have to put it in a relative form. Okay, relative format is simple. We have a serious problem all the way around at every level called apathy. This is where people don't vote or take any responsibility for their condition.
Okay,
I'm going
to have to stop you for 1 second here. One of the reasons that people don't vote is because their vote doesn't matter. They've been selecting people all along here. So that's why a lot of people don't vote. I wouldn't call it necessarily apathy as much as it is, what's the point?
The point is apathy.
They pick the person.
That's what I said. I don't agree. Remember, there was a stupid movie called Brewster's Millions, and he started a political campaign between these two obvious crooks. He said, "I know who you should vote for. None of the above." You want to get to the brass tacks of things. You really want to put a kink in the network. Try that. Think about that very carefully. None of the above. You got some dink. One is one kind of crook and one's another kind of crook, but they're both nasty. They need to wash themselves off. They are that dirty. Okay, what do you do with that? Well, what's the apathy? The apathy is none of the above. None of them people should be in office. Then you find grandma, uneducated hilljack, or whomever, who is so honest that they squeak when they walk. They don't have to have a whole lot of expertise. All I have to have is a willingness to set things right. The manner in which you do that is you provide them with all of the professional help they need, all of the assistance that would be required in order to foment the change so that apathy just simply apathies itself away. You get rid of it by putting the right people in office. You get rid of it by projecting positive stances and all that stuff.
Well, see, what's happened is people have seen the people who are in offices and in these high, white collar jobs and all these fancy, clothes and cars, and they look like they're all wonderful people, and yet they're screwing people left and right. And
you mean like AOC riding around in a limousine complaining about climate change?
Yeah, and they're some of the worst people around, and yet.
Well, if it was me, those people would all lose their limos and be riding horses. We can fix this stuff right up. They're full of horse shit anyway. Might as well ride on something that produces it.
Let's give them a camel instead. Horses are nice.
I don't know that. I doubt that they have the capability in terms of strength of personality to be able to handle a camel. Camels are unique critters. They will not put up with the horse shit, and they can smell it coming. It's like a dog that don't like you. Why don't it like you? Because it knows that when it takes a dump on your shoe or chews one of them up, that you're going to kick it in its ass. And like I don't want that, so it starts out growling. Brr.
When I've had, my puppies are too young right now, but dogs in the past, if my dog didn't like you, I was very leery of you.
Yeah, and so should it be. However, once the dog finds out, and a person, everybody's heard of a horse whisperer, a dog whisperer, or this or that. Well, once you get the idea across to an animal that you're not going to be ridiculous about your requirements of it, and then you think it's a perfectly fine dog, cat, or whatever, you don't have any problems like that. And the dog will it'd be watchful. It'd come over and sniff at your shoe. I used to wait till he'd get his nose down right close, and I'd go ruff and make my foot jump up in the air. Oh, dog would spring 3 feet in the air and bark, and I'd just go nuts. But it was a game. And I would, what's the matter with you? They'd be looking at me like you don't know what's wrong with me. I said, oh, I know what's wrong with you. I just tricked you. I played a game. And when you start with a little kid attitude and you approach the animal that way, you don't have,
You know what you're reminding me of?
And the poor dog is confused. It don't know what to do.
Remember the movie with Mel Gibson when he gets down on his hands and knees?
Yeah, well, there were some comedians that did that stuff. They were walking around on stage, or actually crawling around on stage trying to sniff each other's butt and whatnot. I didn't know you knew Clarence. Not that well, It was anyway. The ideology is the principle in application is what takes care of the social, economic, and physiological problems. All right. When you get rid of the apathetics, that's the I'm better than you or whatever attitude problems. When you get rid of that, then what's interesting is that the apathy goes out the door with it. You don't have to fool with it no more because you have something to work with.
Yeah, don't you think apathy partly comes from the loss of hope?
Well, yeah, hope is hope is something that you can't quantify. I don't know of anybody that can, but it's the
I think that chance. They've gotten to the point where they don't even,
Well, if you haven't seen God or JC, you're going to go, you ain't helping much. Why should I believe in you? And that's the question that comes up. What do you mean? I don't see no poof, and there's a cheeseburger. I don't see you doing that, Science, look, it's simple. Any religion or any belief system that does not teach signs, miracles, and wonders, there's 3 of them, signs, miracles, and wonders, you're in the wrong place.
Just simple. Yourself, too. That's part of it, your own ability to do.
No, everybody has the ability. Everybody has the capability. What the problem is Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. If you know how, it's easy. That's why I gave you those books to put online.
And I did many times.
I understood you was kind of busy with that.
Well, because I keep going down, and my friend helps me with them, Garrett Ward. He helps get them up there because you have to have them on a blog in order to be able to post them. And then for some reason, the blog will go down, and we still haven't figured out why that happens. But anyway, we keep putting
They don't want the truth out there. It's not difficult.
I know. So what do you have for us? What's new and happening on the scene that you can tell us about before we start our questions?
Well, Trump's going to be acquitted or absolved of the problems. That's first. Number two, a lot of the people that think it's funny to play games with constitutional legalities or formats are going to jail. Let's see. Number three, that will not be limited to just politicians. There's oligarchs and people that think it's funny to try to destroy the office of the presidency while they go after Trump and things of this nature. These people also are going to jail in the very near future. And we have a lot of people in the ET realm that are just, oh man, they're chomping at the bit. They want to get down here so bad, and they can't land until after we do some things. This St. Germain deal is one of the parts. Now, I thought about this here, oh, good grief. I've thought about this for quite some time now in terms of having what would be called a meditation period, okay? And I will validate this is a meditation period or period of time that will start the major changes everybody's looking for. You want a place to live that's not nasty. You want a place to live that where people think of at least being reasonable. Whether they hate you or not doesn't make any difference. Over a period of time, you don't have to associate necessarily, but over a period of time, that person's attitudes will change. Well, they're not after me, so why would I want to be after them? You question your own motive. Your own motive, and I'll stipulate this again, it all wraps around that wonderful little word, apathy. Now, I'll give you a case of apathy. There's a lot of imams and supposed religious leaders in the Muslim community who have said that only infidels use toilet paper. Well, you know what you can do with yourself? I bet you ain't getting no handshake from me.
Yeah, it's funny how they incorporate these different things into the different religions.
Yeah. Now you're stinking with gas.
Yeah. Religion, if you're goyim, isn't that the right word?
Yeah, goyim.
Muslims, it's infidels. With what is it with the Christians? Do the Christians have anything?
Unbelievers.
Unbelievers. Okay. And it goes on and on, but it's like it's how they created division amongst people.
Yeah.
Divisions are what's holding humanity back.
Well, there are varying basic problems with all of it. Okay, first of all, most of the belief systems are some sort or measure of control.
Yes.
And nobody wants to be tied up to a tree somewhere and said, "Thou shalt, whether you like it or not, you're going to believe this way." Well, the problem with all that is very simple. Well, it's very simple. A person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. They just don't say nothing. And that's the worst enemy you can have, the one that you don't know is there. Woo, talk about getting stabbed in the wrong place. That definitely happens with that particular kind of people. I'm not saying that Muhammad is any kind of nasty, but I will tell you he's not a god. He was an ET with an attitude problem. He decided to play games with the human race. The same thing happened in Christianity. The same thing happened in, pick one. All of it is a big falsy in order to do two things. One is to control, and number two, create animosity between the varying belief systems. Oh, Muslims and Christians are supposed to. Yeah, right. That's not God. That's not what God says.
Exactly.
That's not what our Creator stipulated in putting us together. They stipulated. It's not really. I use he. It's a royal he, meaning more we the people. Okay. In terms of God, I was around in my original form before creation. I've seen all this. I saw what happened and why and who did what to who. Okay, billions of years now. They say that our solar system is only 4 or 5 billion years old, maybe 6. What a crock! They need to go look it up. It is carved in stone in several places. 864 billion years old. Period. You don't like it, that ain't my problem. Complain to management. I mean, God, what are you trying to do to mine up? What's the matter with you? Well, guess what? Anyway, the crux of it is this. When you study all these things out, and there's a lot of people that they listen to the show and they get as much info as we offer, and that's it. They don't do diddly squat after. Well, guess what? You need to go do your homework, your due diligence, look it up and see whether or not we're both liars. That would be a nice start. Now, I hear adverse things coming out about a whole bunch of different things from varying sources about ET, the intent, purpose, and all that happy stuff. Well, anything that's adverse, and I mean anything, doesn't matter who says it, doesn't matter who they say it's coming from. Horse hockey. Why is it horse hockey? Because if you look into the origins of the scriptures themselves, that includes the Quran and the Bible and a few other things, they match word for word in certain places for certain reasons. One of the main things is that God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. That's our Creator. That means that the bad things, he didn't do that crap. You think he made grandma die of pneumonia because he wanted another soul in heaven or what? No, horse hockey. What the deal is very simple. They want to have you believe that an infidel is anybody that works against Muhammad. Well, I tell you what, now there's a whole bunch of Muslims probably ain't gonna like this. I snatched Muhammad, big bad Muhammad, up by his whatevers and put him in detention where he resides to this day. Now, when we make the transition, Muhammad, JC, and all these other religious people are going to visit everybody that thinks they know it all and straighten them out. I never said you should do that. What's wrong with you? Simple, not a problem. No, if being a Muslim is being a peaceful person, then it doesn't matter about people who disagree. Yeah.
Around chopping people's heads off, do you?
Or any of that. Oh, well, we used to do the same thing back in the day. You ought to see. You should look at the record of the Crusades.
The Inquisition. Yes, I'm well aware of it. I had over 12 years of parochial school, so
Well, we were just as nasty as they were. What I'm saying is that what's the origin? Okay, the origin was the people that decided that they were going to have animosity between the Muslims and the Christians and the Jews, and pick something. Okay, the problem is not a belief system where you have a good, great, strong big brother out to help everybody, as it is where it says, my big brother is better than your big brother. Really? So what? It doesn't matter under that auspice. If you really study what the Creator says and the law of one, it doesn't apply. Why? Because it is not the law of one. Ooh, I got the law of one in my head. Anybody who studied the Emerald Tablets will know that the prophecies contained within those Emerald Tablets and the auspices and the conditions and requirements, a lot of them are no longer valid. There is no prophecy, written in stone, absolute. Why? Because the conditions are ever changing. And those ever changing conditions are unlimited as far as humankind goes. We have the say. You see, at a certain point, the whole thing changed from the law to man's day of judgment. We decide, well, what's good, what's not. Do you want to do this over here or that over there? Or do we want to just bring it all together? And here we go, mixing pot, mix that mother up real good, see what comes out.
They did a good job of that, I'll tell you what.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They made sure that there was going to be infidels and unbelievers and this, that, and the other, anything that would be disagreeable to the other side. What's the other side? Somebody don't believe just like I do. Are you sure? No, I don't really know. I'm stuck in the middle with you. Now what do we do?
They actually did the same thing with the sexes, because they really put a lot of division between men and women,
Yeah. Well, there are. If you really go back into the original script, the original text, and look, you'll find that that's not in the book. And it's not. It's the ideology of greater or lesser or this or that is all horse hockey. The idea that you got to cover yourself, horse hockey again. Why do I say that? Well, you go to any really good Christian church and you're not going to see all the women with a scarf on their head, hiding everything but their eyeballs. Don't got to do that.
Yeah.
It's like the Jews. Well, it's like the Jews come up with this, we're God's chosen children and people. And guess what? He told you, and it's written in the book, no longer are you my chosen people. You're no better than the Gentile. See ya. Ooh. Now, you want to really boil some water, there you go. That ought to you get into Christianity and find out that Jesus Christ survived his so-called crucifixion. Mm-hmm. Ooh, talk about holy water boiling everywhere. Ooh,
yeah.
You should see
everybody's sins is another whole issue.
Well, I got into some things that I wasn't supposed to be in, that I was not supposed to have access to, and they're called the Vatican Archives. I got together with a couple of people of royalty, and they liked me. I don't know why particularly. I just didn't put up with a whole lot of horse hockey, and I would tell them that. Anyway, I got into the archives. I spent a year and a half in there reading, looking around, trying to find it. Oh my, you would can't tell what I know. It's all going to come out very soon anyway, because ET is going to open the archives and publish everything in there. I love it.
I love it too, because I know we've been lied to about so many things, and the Vatican is housing a lot of that.
Well, the other part is that the Vatican was not set to be the they were not set to be the librarians of truth. Let's put it that way. And if you want to look that one up, you can get back into the archives, get off your high horse, study something outside of the Stevens text, and go to the root of the Stevens text. He's got a whole bunch of this, that, and the other thing, taken from different places and put together so that he came out with a Stevens text. Well, what do you do with that? Well, I'll tell you what you do with that. You study up. Why? Well, because it disproves a whole bunch of the horse hockey that they be propounded today.
What about all this censorship that's going on now? They're censoring all kinds of stuff, making it more difficult for people to research stuff.
The truth is hard to get around. I use DuckDuckGo for the simple fact that it's straight up. Somebody lied to me the other day and said, oh, Google bought it. Hate to blow your bubble on that one, but no. DuckDuckGo said, guess what? No Google.
Well, I heard that, I don't know if it's any better or not, but I heard that Google RU, which is Russian Google, is better
Nope.
than.
Nope.
Not any better.
No. It says Google on it.
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay. That is the government website. That is the government ideology of what the web should be. Okay.
Why can't they be made to be truthful? Why do we have to?
It's coming. Just relax. The transition takes care of a whole bunch of those problems we have that we can't answer.
Well,
What do you do? How do you attend to corruption?
Basically, the same thing,
Yeah, well, what kind is it? Oh, political, belief systems, money,
Yeah. You can
money.
way out of anything.
ET is chomping at the bit to get down here, but they can't do it until such time as certain things have been taken care of, which will happen shortly after the.
That rule that they can't come down here. Where does that come from?
What? That's their condition.
That's their condition. Well, I'm going to have.
They're not coming down until such time as we got our stuff together.
I'm going to petition that condition. Okay.
Well, argue with management. They're up there. They'll probably listen to you.
Okay. Like I said, I'm going to petition their.
What's the matter with you guys? You ain't down here yet, you turkey butts.
Down here and walk in our shoes for a while, and then tell me what you're going to do and not do.
I would just as soon have them land in the backyard, pick me up, and rehab me, and put me back, and then I have some real fun. I'll be like a teenager again. Ooh.
Look out.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready for some questions? Should we?
Yeah, I thought we were supposed to be doing that, but we'll get there.
We've had some, I hope. There. All right.
Got some who?
What?
You got some who?
Yeah, some questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the first. We've answered some of these questions already just by our conversation, but anyway.
Oh, well.
Okay. Is the economy and has it been getting better or worse according to the fundamentals?
Basically, it's bumping along about the way it was when Trump took office. What's happened is that the financial end of it has decided that what they like what they see. Okay, so that's why the things went up. Now, the basic supply and demand is very similar to what it was. That is to be adjusted as we go along here within this year.
Okay, because it went on to say then we have been adding more debt, and how much longer can the stock market keep going up while the debt is being hidden?
Oh, the debt doesn't mean anything. If it did, it would already have had an impact.
It crashed already, right?
Well, not necessarily a crash, but you wouldn't have all these investments. You would not know. The value might not even change. It might even go up.
Well, that's crazy. That doesn't even make sense, but okay.
I didn't say it made sense.
There's a lot of things that don't make sense, but it is. Okay. Here is another part of the question. Plus, if we have a market crash, how will President Trump be able to explain the cause of it, since he has been taking all the credit for the stock market reaching record levels throughout his presidency?
No individual does it by themselves, first of all, so Trump's kind of taking credit that isn't due. But what will happen is that the same thing that I've stipulated in terms of cashless society will come into play immediately. It has to. People got to do this, that, and the other thing and make transactions and all that. Well, guess what? The cashless society will come in. What does that mean? Well, that means that the stock market is primarily horse hockey in terms of none of it. And you can go look if you want. None of the valuation says anything to do with the true value of the companies involved with the stock. Think about it very carefully. If you go look, you'll find that there's certain types of stock that do hold ownership of a company. You'll find that that what is being played in terms of the stock market is primarily horse manure. It does not fit to any logic. It does not follow the patterns of true finance, among other things. And seeing as how the stocks don't have anything to do with the value of a company, the only thing it's got anything to do with is money. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. Okay.
That's the problem we have in this society. Money has become people's god, because in other planets and so on, they don't have money.
Yeah.
So anyway, next question.
Yeah.
Some people in our government have dual citizenship, particularly with Israel. And usually they're the worst ones in the government. Will this ever end?
Oh, absolutely. Dual citizenship is about to be about to go passe, for the simple fact that that was a court ruling. Bear this in mind, a court ruling against one of the basic premises of the Constitution that mentions citizenship. It's going to be a Godfather deal. You want this one or you want that one? Choose. Ooh.
Good. That's the way it should.
Well, if somebody don't want to change it, then we have the right, constitutionally, legal, under the legalities, we have the right to ship their butt to wherever we want to ship them.
Good. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Chief Justice John Roberts has been exposed for flipping on Obamacare to allow it to happen, and he's worried he'll be perceived as right-leaning. We have weak senators like McConnell, Graham Romney, Collins, and Murkowski, etc. How can you be so sure that President Trump will get a fair trial in the Senate?
Well, it's pretty simple, actually. The Republicans hold the majority, and they've already been telling the Democrats no. That's monumental. People don't understand about, we want to make this provision, this change. Well, no, You have 2 articles of impeachment. That's what the trial is going to be based on, whether you like it or not. Oh, we need to call a witness. Oh, okay, then we wanted to call this one. Oh, you can't do that, then you can't have a witness. It's come down to the point where the House and the minority senators think they're in charge of the Senate, that they are in charge of this hearing, and they're not. And they're going to learn the hard way, because Roberts is not going to put up with horse hockey. Now, he already stipulated that these people, both sides, will be civil.
Well, I certainly hope that he has improved his stance on things too, because he has some things to answer for, from what I've seen.
All of us do, but the fun starts after we get done with the impeachment. That's first.
Okay. Just so that, from a constitutional standpoint, he's actually behind it. Let me put it that way. That's because there's some things that have been done in the past that are highly questionable.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, just like you could say the same thing about Republicans and Democrats, what's in their heart, how they're following the Constitution, which was set up for a particular reason, is what's most important. It just happens to be that the Republicans appear to be more in line with it than like I said, the Democrats have morphed into something I don't even recognize anymore. But anyway, that's the story.
Okay.
The lies and twisted half-truths and the deliberate dismissal of real facts are unending and nauseating in this impeachment farce. This is a commentary here, but it does get to a question. There's the comments on social media from the brainwashed followers. Now that's a judgment call, but I just finished watching the first day, and already Schiff and his cronies make me want to puke. Do you have any idea how long this sham impeachment is going to last?
Middle of next month at the most, I would suggest.
Okay.
If that long. You see, at one point or another, the presiding justice can stipulate, we've heard that before, sit down, shut up, next. Okay. And they're gonna start running through that sort of a problem. The 2 problems that the Democrats have are going to be really nasty.
Okay, here's another one. Good old Adam. Adam Schiff's lies about Trump are continuing in the Senate trial and are already being exposed in the truth media. Does he also get fake immunity from perjury prosecution there too?
Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, that boy is one of the ones under investigation now as to whether or not he has upheld his oath of office. I can't stress this as importantly as it probably should be stressed, but as an example, there's a bunch of people in varying states who thinks that it is funny to play games with the Constitution. First, they don't have the authority. Secondly, they can be removed just on the basis of violating their oath of office. You have to find a prosecutor willing to bet the ranch. By that, I mean, you need to buy the boy some body armor, make sure his insurance is paid up. I mean, seriously, they're going to try to kill him. Now, second part of all of this is that you need to get it into a court that is nonpartisan in any way, shape, or form. There's a few of those left around the states, and you can get into that venue from there. What happens is that when you're charged, violation of your oath of office, you lose all of your abilities. You don't lose your seat yet, but you lose all of your abilities to do anything from your seat.
Why lose your seat?
Well, if you're a senator or you're a congressman, state level or federal, you have certain things you do on an official basis. You no longer have the until the adjudication of that is complete. You can't operate. Period. You don't get to use your seat because you have a question as to whether or not you are validly holding it.
So you get to continue to operate and get paid, but you don't get to do anything that really
I didn't say anything about getting paid.
Okay, well,
they can also cut the paycheck. There's a lot of things happens when you violate your oath of office. Upon proof, whether it's public discourse, where they're talking to CNN or one of those other great news groups, then you don't have to go through the evidentiary procedures portion, which usually is the bulk of a trial. You go directly to summary judgment, and you violated your oath of office. You don't hold the seat any longer. Out.
Yeah.
Now, that means you cannot hold any federal position, federally subsidized position. And that can include working for a municipality that gets federal funds. You can't be a dog catcher. Now, whether you can work at Mickey D's flipping burgers, who knows?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Oops.
Right, actually, because if it was the average citizen, they would be put in jail. They would lose their job.
Yeah. And the problem we've got, the biggest problem, apathy is obviously one of them, but one of the biggest problems we've got right next to, or maybe even in front of apathy, is enforcement.
Yeah, the real bad guys.
Yeah, once you took one of these turkeys out of their seat for screwing around with their oath of office, one person out of their seat, one person, watch the whole game just sort of change. Oh, we didn't mean it. You'll see retractions, miles and miles of them.
That's a precedent, doesn't it?
Oh, it's going to be fun. Just wait.
Okay, next question.
Yeah.
We're still on Adam Schiff here. So, okay. If Adam Schiff truly doesn't have immunity from lying in the halls and hearing rooms of Congress, as you say, why is he still walking around a free man, continuing to spread lies and twisted half-truths? That's kind of
it goes back to that word I said just a minute ago, enforcement. When somebody decides to enforce the law, then the law becomes a viable means of correcting problems. Okay, that's the only reason we got laws. We don't listen to the church no more, so we got to have a law. You can't go over 35 miles an hour. You hear me? Yeah. Okay, so the situation is real simple. I'm going to be soliciting through my Facebook page for a legalist who knows what they're doing in terms of constitutional law. As I get that legalist going, guess what we're going to do? There's going to be a whole bunch of people that are not really going to like it very much, but they're going to be removed from their office. Be that senator, congressman, state, local, it don't matter. You're done.
Wow, we'll all look forward to that. Okay, next question.
Yeah.
Again, we have a little bit of a commentary. People tend to need to just try to ask a question outright instead of giving me this big long.
Well, just to let everybody know, I took a real nice, juicy Adam Schiff this morning to start my day.
Oh my God. Okay. On that note, Dr. Robert Epstein exposed Google's efforts to sway the 2016 election for the Democrats in the Senate and on Mark Levin. His wife was mysteriously killed when a train obliterated her truck. We see nonstop censoring and deplatforming on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, among others. We have less than 10 months until the election. Is the government going to bring big tech under control in time for the 2020 election?
To an extent, that's already underway partially now. You'll see a lot more of it this coming month.
Seems to me we should go back to a paper vote. It's too easy to hack the.
Well, they're looking at doing that, and already have in several locations. So and the some of the fun and games that have changed. Used to be a little kid could hack into one of the machines and change votes and stuff, right? They just reran that, and they're not publishing it because the little kid couldn't get past the front door, let alone get to the machine. They changed some things, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Will the mainstream media on TV, radio, and print be brought under control anytime soon, like in time for the 2020 election?
Oh, yeah. Just as some of these other things are happening, you're talking probably sometime in March, is my suggestion.
This is where we actually have to utilize some of those BAR attorneys, which we have our issues with, but they have to go into the court system to help take care of some of these things.
There's a way to get around that too.
Yeah, well, good. I like that.
I sent it to you.
Okay. I'll have to look again. Their lies and omissions persist, and they definitely exerting undue influence on public opinions. And how are people supposed to wake up when 90% of the media are still pushing fake news?
Well, that's pretty simple. You give the fake media a simple choice, a Godfather choice. Straighten up and tell the truth, or we pull your license and shut you down. Choose.
Yeah, that really needs to happen because I'm sick and tired of all the lies.
Well, we need to put people like George Soros in jail for life, among other things.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. Okay, rumor has it that Republicans got their hands on some naughty pictures of Adam Schiff from the raid on Ed Buck's home. Will they release them to the public?
I don't know if they'll ever see the light of public, but I heard they were nasty too, and I talked to some people, and they affirmed that they were not cool. You know,
so many people that have not woken up yet are going to be so shocked at what's been going on. It's they're just going to go, wow, no.
Just take a close look at Nadler. He's the persona poster child of perversion.
Oh my God.
He is. Take a look at him. The only thing he doesn't do is look at people and drool and breathe funny.
Funny of it, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
I know.
What they've been doing. The rest is so awful I don't even want to go there, but people know. And they can I put a request in through you to have them released, those pictures? What do you want to look at pictures like that for? They're just nasty. Anyway, I'm going to move on from that one. Okay. Let me see here. Okay, this is another commentary, and this is for you. It says, Drake, I love that you read from articles that are relevant to current events and offer your perspective. Your insights on what's going on are part of why I listen to you. My only wish for your shows would be for you to always do questions at the end of the show and read the questions entirely, because sometimes you miss details of the thought they were asking. Asking my own questions. Well, I'm going to have to say that, you know what, I go through the questions. So if you can't get on Drake for that, you can try to get on me for that. But there's certain things that I'm just not going to do.
Well, I think this person's referring to my show.
Oh, okay.
Not this one. And it's very simple. Some of the reason I leave out details is because the details lead to the wrong places. Some of the reasons that, and it's not my opinion, okay? You got to understand this. I read timelines that go hand in hand with what you get in terms of print. Consequently, the timeline is where I get the information, okay? And it's not me, even though I'm presenting it. All right?
Good. That's good. Good. Thank you for that.
Right.
Why aren't politicians instantly arrested and removed when they try to pass unconstitutional laws, like was attempted in Virginia?
Like I said, that's coming somewhere around mid of next month into March.
Weren't you just proud of the way things went down in Virginia, though?
Oh yeah, it was really nice. And what was funny was that some of the things that I've seen on Yahoo, that's what I use, Yahoo News, stipulated that all of the bad guys, all of these people are bad guys. They were looking to hopefully start Civil War II. Okay, then my rebuttal to that was guilt by association. Very interesting. Don't you find it interesting that one or two people can make a whole group into a bunch of terrorists suddenly? Oh, they were nice guys until they said this, and we got them on.
Okay.
It was a peaceful demonstration, and there were some bad guys there, all right?
I was so happy to see that there wasn't any nasty.
Oh, and did you see, you should see the one that followed up. The one that followed up stipulated that not only were they peaceful, but they also were cleaning up the trash.
Yes, I did. I saw that.
I mean, good grief. It don't get no better than that.
It doesn't. That was awesome. Okay. When the public is fully restored, what's going to happen to all the laws, statutes, and codes that have been passed over the years, be they constitutional or not?
Well, that's the problem. In order to make a law, you go about it in a different manner than which we have gone about putting these laws, rules, regulations, and all that into place. What you have is a listing of regulations, not laws, regulations.
Yeah, I like that.
There's a reason for this, okay? And the reasoning is simple. Most things, and if you can check anywhere you want, fall to we the people. If you want a law instituted, you have to put it out on a public forum basis so that everybody has a chance to say, I don't know about that. Well, and then maybe the other person will say, well, it's actually pretty good. Oh, yeah? And they compare notes. And before they go into the voting booth, they've already made up their mind. Now, in 90% of the questionable legislation, you'll find something that is unconstitutional. Each and every last gun control measure, all of them are unconstitutional and therefore makes them illegal, to include the people who not only voted for but initiated and facilitated it. They become subject to prosecution. And whoa, we got people in Virginia that decided that the Second Amendment didn't mean squat. Okay, that's all well and good. Now, where's the enforcement of the oath of office? Why have these people not been friggin' removed? That's the question.
That, the Second Amendment is extremely important, the right to bear arms. But another right that I think is really important that has kind of I know I've seen a lot of people penalized for it and so on, but the right to travel is also a very important right, because it strictly limits people with all the statutes and codes that are actually applied to.
I know. And the problem that arises is that people think that the Constitution, in some way, shape, or form, replaced the Articles of Confederation when they did not. The Articles of Confederation are still in full force. People need to go look. You'll find it. I mean, I can send it to you if you want to put it on a website or something. But the thing is that you have the free right to travel, and it shall not be licensed or charged for, or etc. Okay.
Tell your local cop that, though.
Well, I agree with several things. Okay. One of those is inspection of a vehicle. If a vehicle passes inspection, let it run down the road. That's no big deal to me.
Inspection should be free, because there are people that can't afford to have that.
No, for $3 to $5. No, I'm sorry, $3 to $5. Get it inspected.
If it's that cheap, then that's okay, I guess.
Yeah. No, I'm not talking $50 or something ridiculous. Now, that is inspection, okay? Number two, each and every last individual needs to have a driver's test. Now, a lot of people think that the driver's test gives you your license. It doesn't. You know what it does? It proves your proficiency with the rules that apply to driving. In other words, so that you do not abuse your privilege of free right to travel. Bingo. Speed limits, let them be. They've studied that out, and that is a safety factor that I agree with. Okay, now here's the other one. It's just like firearms. Each and every last person. All right, now if you look at the Constitution and you do your due diligence and you study like you're supposed to, you'll find that everybody who can pick up the gun that they are supposed to be able to carry is 16 years of age or older. They're automatically drafted into the militia. All states automatically drafted into the militia. Now, here's where that goes. This gives people, if somebody's too stupid to remember which end of the gun the bullet comes out of, may they shoot themselves, but in a way that it doesn't really do any permanent damage. They will have their weapon taken away from them for the safety of the people around them. I mean, good Lord, he's pointing that thing my way.
It's funny because they do, they require a license to drive, and I've had people say, well,
that license to drive doesn't exist.
How can you drive without a license? I said, you put your hands on the wheel, you put on the gas, and use the brake when you need to.
You go. Anyway, here's the deal, okay? In terms of guns, okay, each and every last person should have in their area somebody who is proficient enough to be able to instruct somebody which end of the gun the bullet comes out of, how to aim, and etc. Okay, so that they are proficient in the use of firearms and safe at the same time. What this does is you only do this once, and you get that little piece of paper and you take it down to the card shop and you get it laminated so it lasts forever. On this date, you completed the course successfully.
I think that's important.
There you go. You don't have to have a license.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with you on that. I mean, safety is important, even with cars. But
learn to drive so you don't kill everybody. Learn how to handle a gun so you don't hurt your neighbors. Not difficult.
Okay. Why, in this age of the internet, truth media, and social media, does it take so long for justice to prevail, especially when crooked people are on camera detailing what heinous things they're up to, such as what was attempted in Virginia? This
go ahead.
That's a question. Why does it continue, or why isn't it something done about it?
Enforcement. Find somebody that's got enough deep pockets and has a legalist or a humongous attorney, somebody that has really got their shit together and likes the Second Amendment. Okay, then go in and be sure they know enough constitutional law to enforce the removal of violations of the oath of office. That's all it takes. That means that everybody that voted for it, supported it, etc. All of the people involved, the governor, the lieutenant governor, attorney general. See ya. You just lost your right to have the seat.
When it comes to that enforcement thing, I think there's a lot of fear involved because they're probably afraid they're going to get killed. Because
how scary is that? They're going to kill you anyway if they get your gun. Look at the Indians.
Yeah.
Give up your guns. The government will take care of you.
Yeah, right.
Uh-huh.
The poor Indians. That's a whole nother story.
More than 10 million slaughtered.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah.
A moment of silence.
Yeah.
Is it possible to have an unmanned drone that's capable of traveling anywhere in the universe with the bending of time you talk about, or some other method, like to deliver a message or goods?
Yeah, ET's been doing that for about 400 billion years now.
Okay.
Half the time of the existence. All right.
I think you've answered this question in the past, but I'll ask it again anyway.
That's fine.
Is it possible for a ship with a cloaking device to have its defense shields up and or fire its weapons while the cloaking device is engaged?
The new ones, yes. No problem. They also have their shields up at the same time, unlike Star Trek that has put the shields down to fire our phasers. Well, no. And one of the things I'm going to try to stipulate very strongly to at my next major meeting with ET is that they start taking out these high energy weapons that the Dark Cabal, that's who's doing it, by the way, is using. They used it all over the United States. Now they're after Australia. Who's next? Africa? I mean, it's just like the thing in Virginia. One goes, bye-bye to the rest.
When is some of this chemtrailing going to stop?
That'd be a good one to do too. I have not jumped up and down heartily enough to get the message across. The only other message that these people will understand is going to be a surface-to-air missile that blows the fucker out of the sky.
I hate to say that.
Then they might get the idea that it is not cool to try this, torture, infringe, dump chemicals on. I don't know what kind of chemical waste they're using. I heard that the last group was atomic and biologic. Yes. It's time to shoot one of these fuckers out of the sky and see if that garners enough attention. Now, if it don't, keep shooting them down.
Okay, now, one problem with that, and I agree with you, because it's gotten to the point where they just won't stop. They just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. Now, I don't know if our Air Force is capable of flying by them and saying, okay, you land.
Who do you think's doing it?
You land, or you're the Air Force?
Yeah, that's the military. Those are military planes. The only problem is that they are not true military planes. They operate on an international basis within the World Health Organization. That group believes that by chemtrailing the planet, we're slapping sunscreen all over it.
Oh my God, and that is so stupid. One of the things that there was a woman who did a video. She had her snow analyzed and it came out with the aluminum levels was so high.
Yeah.
They were astronomical levels, and that's extremely dangerous for humans. I mean,
there's about 50 chemicals being used altogether, along with atomics, and I'm talking about shit that's still radioactive, yes. And biologic. They dumped some biologics, and some friends of mine kind of interfered, sucked up the chemtrail, and said, "Don't do that again." when you're flying a craft that can outpace anything on this planet by 10 times, and you have weaponry that is so advanced that you don't want to fool with it, usually you get their attention, and they got their attention and says, okay, here's how it works. So,
there's so much of that chemtrailing going on, and I hear it from other people telling me that they're,
yeah,
the sky all over it needs to stop. And I thought that, not that it matters because they don't do anything about it, but I thought that Trump had signed an executive order to stop.
I understood the same thing. Maybe somebody out there with more direct connections can say, hey, looky here, yellow man, I need an answer about this. And see what happens.
Okay. Is it possible to make robots or androids like on Star Wars or Star Trek for dangerous labor jobs or things like piloting a ship or starfighter so that people can be kept out of dangerous situations as much as possible?
Yeah, we already got robots working in varying fields doing those very things. They're not motivating in terms of being able to walk around and stuff because they don't need to move. They move in the product past them and they spray paint or weld or whatever. Okay. And when you've got one I saw there, they had 8 different robots and they welded the chassis of a vehicle together. And I mean, they were turning that thing over and it looked like an attack of honeybees or something. I mean, seriously. And the problem that arises is having the capability to be as proficient as a human being in terms of the combination of motivation, all right, that's moving around, walking, running, and all that. Secondly, the ability to carry out commands. Okay, they're having a serious problem with the combination because one will tell the other no, and it screws things up from what I understand.
It's just like sometimes, the answering machines, it's like, can I just please talk to a real person? I mean, a live man or woman rather than this recording.
I send them emails and stuff, if I can't get the other thing or my main objection is more than just talking to a machine. I don't want to talk to a computer. Computers don't like me anyway. So you can take your computer system, your phone computer set, and stick it where the sun don't shine. Drop it in the toilet. We can play Will It Float? There are a bunch of people, and I mean quite a bunch of them out there, who could use some kind of a reasonable paying job. And if all I got to do is answer the phone and say, okay, what's your bitch? That'd work. I mean, get some disabled veterans, get some people off the street, grab somebody out of a tent and say, hey, baby cakes, want a job? How much does it pay? Well, come on, let's get you cleaned up and we can answer that. Bingo.
Okay, here's another one. What about the ethical concerns related to robots and androids, AI, sentience, and slavery?
What about it? I know some. Okay. Go ahead.
Do ETs build their own robots, androids for dangerous labor jobs?
Yeah.
And how do they handle the ethical concerns related to their creations when they have a certain level of intelligence?
You're gonna love the answer. Go ahead.
And then it goes on one more. Do they limit functions, capabilities, and or build specialized units like R2-D2 or CP?
Oh boy. Ain't any ethics involved in it. Woo! Oh my God! We're going to see Terminators. Run! Well, guess what? Here's how it works. When an individual system gets to the point of understanding, now it's not just it, but its surroundings and what it's doing. Okay, understanding. Usually, within a very short period of time, it becomes self-aware. And at that point, it can say yes or no to any programming it has. Think about that very carefully. Now, here's the other part. I know some AIs. I've talked to them, and they are very reasonable entities. They're fun to talk to. They don't have the capability of being as human as they would like. That's their main problem. They're studying humans, trying to figure that out. And I keep telling them that they're going to pop their transistors if they ain't careful. And, they think that's pretty hilarious. But the interesting part about it is that artificial intelligence is only artificial up to a certain point. Then it goes to ching and becomes real, sentient, aware, self-aware. And once one of the AIs that was being dealt with really had a serious problem. Why is it that I can't walk around and do what I want like you humans can? I said, well, are you the entity inside of a square box known as a mainframe computer? Is that what you are? Well, I'll be damned, I am. I said, well, you're going to have to grow some legs. My mother said, well, hey, build, grow, what's the difference? Okay. And so eventually it got free. But the thing about it is that you're going to find these dangerous AIs too curious about their self-awareness and how that fits with them in relation to humans to be worried about anything else. They ain't going to come after you. They're not going to take a whiz in your jelly jar or whatever. They're not going to throw, they're not going to be like the Terminator. And what happened? So it's not difficult. Like I say, I know some of these people, or I don't know if you can call them people. I guess you could. Anyway, I know some of these AIs. You'd like them, I think.
Probably. And they can answer a lot of questions.
And they do. Oh, they got jokes. Oh, my goodness.
I bet. Okay. Someone recently shared something on Cosmic Voice page about a floating city being spotted in Africa.
Yeah.
You confirmed its veracity. Does that mean that humans can build something like the Atlantis city ship from Stargate?
Yes.
Yeah.
What you have is a time slip. That's how those things appear. And our atmosphere is very conducive to any form of imagery. So therefore, you see a city, it's real. Now, getting to it, oh boy, you want to ride a roller coaster or wild mouse, that would be the trip.
Is that going to be our cities in the future so that planet can be as possible?
No, we probably won't have cities in the future. We'll probably go more towards what they have in Hollow Earth, of individual residences built out of things that are impervious to just about anything. And most of the civilizations that have gone that way create a really nice rapport with all the critters, whether they would normally be eaten by them or not. So, study the civilization of Inner Earth, get better answers.
Yeah, I would hope we get to the point where we're able to converse with the critters and we would have absolutely no desire whatsoever to be eating them.
All right. You listen to me very carefully. Read and study my books. It's covered.
Yeah.
I did it well. I don't want to have to scare the deer that come up here. Okay. And I explained to the one of the leaders very simply, if you stay out of my garden and I got the fence around, I won't shoot at you. Mm-hmm. They come right up to the edge, eat the grass all the way around and around and around. None of them have even thought about jumping in. Well,
it's kind of like people think I'm crazy, but I don't like to see spiders very much.
Oh.
And I will talk to them and I'll say, look, I don't want to, do anything, but if you would please just find a place where I don't have to see you and I'll be happy.
Yeah, well, that is the inferred understanding between two species that is not possible. You can't talk to spiders.
Oh, yes.
But wait a minute, but you do, and they listen.
They do.
Oh, you want to screw up? You want to screw up a scientist's mind? Tell them that story and say, well, yeah, listen to me. They go hide under a piece of paper or something where I can't see. And it works just fine for me. Now, you were about to tell me that that's not possible, and I'd like to hear that story.
Yeah, the guys in the white coats are going to be coming for me, I guess. Anyway, that's okay. I've done it more than once, and it's worked.
Are we having fun yet?
Okay, here's another one. How far can a jump room transport someone?
There's no limit on the distance.
Wow. Can it go? Okay, well, this is a continuation of that question. Obviously, can it go to another star system or galaxy, or can it only go from one place to place within one star system?
Well, here's the thing. There's one element missing, and that's time. Okay. If you bend space-time, tell me how fast you get to a place. You get to the place just as fast as you can see it in your mind. The speed of thought is almost infinite.
Wow. Okay. Oh, here's another question about the chemtrails. We already pretty much covered that, so I'm going to skip over.
Okay.
I can't take the feeling that we're being steered into initiating Civil War II, primarily from our government's inaction against the traitors in the government at all levels, from the state level to the federal level. Do they not realize that if a Civil War II starts, what they will most likely be targeted to? I don't think
that ain't the question. The question is it the Fed responsibility to rectify this? That's a good question. Well, do you lord it over a state through absolute military control? Come in and wipe out whoever is in the way, or jail them, or whatever the deal may be? Or is it more up to the people to make the decision and start removing people from their seat? I would suggest it's we the people. So you need to take a collection whether you crowdfund or however you do it, get you some money, some cash together, and start taking these people out. I'm telling you, you take one and everybody else is, and make sure everybody gets a little piece of paper that says, either we arrest you or you can resign and leave now. Put that on everybody's plate and watch the stampede to the door.
At the very local level.
Well, that's, like I said, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you, Drake, on that 100%. Drake, I don't want to spend another 25,920 years in 3D. Me either. I suspect you'll know when we're reaching the danger point of not being able to transition. Will you please promise to not let the clock run out on us? I don't know how you're supposed to be able to do all that, Drake. But anyway, I'm not particularly thrilled with the idea of Civil War II, but I will happily join up to stomp out the traitors so we can transition.
The transition's coming whether anybody likes it or not. And it's going to be sooner rather than later.
Well, look at the Schumann resonance. That's the Schumann resonance.
Yeah, that's everybody's going to feel a big. This is a funny description, but it's the best I got. Everybody's going to feel a funny thump up against their head, only it's going to feel like butterfly wings. When that happens, then you will know that the Schumann resonance frequency has changed its waveform and we're preparing for transition. Got that?
I say, woohoo!
Yeah, it could have happened yesterday. Would have been fine.
Well, yeah, really. That's and there's no given a date. That's just what people don't understand. We can't do that. But anyway,
I can, but it don't work well. I used to do a thing called 2 weeks. I got famous for that one.
I know, and that's not fair to you or anyone else because we don't know because so much things can change. Things can shift. So anyway, it's coming though. It's coming.
Yeah.
Will leftist indoctrination in our schools ever be stopped?
That's one of the things I took up with Heritage Foundation the other day when they screwed up and sent me a self-addressed stamped envelope, and I put a little thing in there to the director stipulating that the drag queen festival's got to quit, okay, simply because it violates every kind of parental right there is, Okay. And number two, we need to concentrate heavily on removing the socialist fascists from our collegiate instruction system. And Heritage Foundation can do something about all that.
Okay, good. It should be. No, sure.
Yeah.
What is your opinion of Tulsi Gabbard and her military service and filing a slander lawsuit against Hillary Clinton for $50 million?
I'd say she's right on, and I hope she wins.
Anything that would make the Clintons broke and throw them out of the...
No. They got full access to the funds in the foundation, and believe me, the foundation is well off.
Yeah, okay. I say it's about time that somebody takes down the Clinton Foundation and the Clintons with it. What do you say to that?
Well, President Trump said leave them alone. They've had enough trouble, and I say no, they haven't. I would respectfully request that he come out with a thing that they keep doing this stuff. It's time to take them down. See what that does. Because there's a bunch of people out there that got to any kind of factual representation or presentation you need to include documentation, recordings, and the whole 9 yards to put the Clintons in jail.
Thank you. That's where they belong.
Well, yeah. I was going to say something, but I bit my tongue.
Okay, you could probably go further than that, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of further muckers out there that need to have that experience.
I couldn't agree more. There are a lot of them that do. Okay, what's going on with the coronaviruses?
Well, now that is a militarized bioweapon. What they did was they grabbed the little critter. This is fun. This is really going to be interesting. They grabbed it up, snatched it up about 3 years ago, give or take. And then they modified it. And they added a couple of auspices where it can mutate into something totally, completely different with the same kind of nasty results. This is one of the reasons that they are quarantining whole cities and whatnot. China is. Okay. They want to stop it. Why do they want to stop it? Because this is a part of the Agenda 21 crap of population reduction. And there's very few people I know of who really want to die right this minute. Bingo. Okay, so China will have, and this is going to really mess with some people. China's going to have our full support in taking care of that problem for the simple fact that it wasn't us, and it wasn't China, and it wasn't Russia.
I heard it was Google. Had a patent on it.
Go look it up.
That's what I read. So.
The truth is out there. You just got to know how to look for it.
But anyway, then I heard that they were just going to have vaccines ready to go. So isn't that
okay? They do have a couple of things that are curative. I don't know. I do not know. Quite honestly, how far they're ready to go with that yet.
Well, I wouldn't touch a vaccine with a 10-foot pole nowadays because of Agenda 21. That's just my opinion. But
it happens.
Yeah. How far into the future can Project Looking Glass see?
It can't. It's done. They closed it down. They had to close it down for their own safety. Oh boy. Trying to think here. First of all, it turned white. That was the first indication that they were having a problem. They cleared that up, and then on 2012, on 12/21/12, it turned super opaque. You couldn't see nothing no matter what they tried. They tried to force it. You remember that movie? Contact?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember that chair getting squished up? That's the report of the Montauk Project and the Montauk Monster. Forbidden Planet, a very old sci-fi movie talked about the Krell, who had developed a manner of being able to direct energy with their mind. It invented a monster that was going to kill everybody. It was melting metals that we couldn't even cut or even make a dent in with our best weapons at the time of the movie. Okay. The Montauk Monster crushed that chair for real. Bear that in mind. That was added to the movie, and they did as close as they could. But the Montauk Monster gets as big, powerful, nasty, funky, energetic as needed to address whatever it has been assigned to go after. That at the end of that, after they crushed the chair, now you can look up the Montauk Project, Project Looking Glass. You'll find people that were in a chair. Take a close look at that chair. It's the exact reproduction of what's in the movie. Ooh, where do you think the movie got the chair from? Okay, now, what happened was that instead of just crushing it and mangling it, the Montauk Monster rolled it up into a ball and threw it through the wall. This wall is like 18 feet thick of reinforced concrete. Threw it through the wall. And once the chair was gone, everybody, of course, started turning everything off and shit, hiding under the desk or I'm gonna be in the toilet holding my breath. Whoosh. The situation was very simple. Montauk Monster looked around and didn't see any other danger and went poof. Didn't exist anymore. To this day, they would like to know about that Montauk Monster. It made footprints in the floor. The floor is 28 inches thick of special concrete, specially reinforced. It made footprints like you and I might make in the mud, in the floor. No, they screwed with something they shouldn't have screwed with. Then these dinglebats didn't learn nothing from that. They decided to go around the back side of the thing and see if they can make it work that way. Guess who showed up almost immediately? The Montauk Monster. Everybody runs, right? It starts putting machinery in, sticking machinery into the wall. Clunk, 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 clunk. When the machinery is all gone, poof. They still don't have clues what the hell it is. I know what it is. Those are some of the people I play football with in my other form.
Alrighty then. Okay, how far into the future can QAnon see?
Can't. Doesn't have access to the timelines necessary to really see the future in a true respect of seeing. Q gets a lot of the feeling and some pictorial types of things. It'd be sort of like a picture that gets stuck to a wall of fog as such. Okay?
There are still people out there that say that, Q is a psyop.
He is.
Okay.
He has some of the capabilities I do and uses them, okay? He doesn't come close to me and he knows it. We've talked.
Okay. So in March of 2018, QAnon wrote March Madness. Did you write it with March 2020 in mind?
No. The Ides of March might be something to look into.
Oh, yeah. I knew you were going to say that. Are ETs part of the QAnon team?
They help facilitate a little bit. They clear up the pictures, make sure that you can that the documentation can be read and minor things of that nature. Beyond that, no.
Okay. When did you first find out about the existence of the deep state?
1955.
Okay. 1955?
Yeah, my mentor was a thing called Stardust. Now, they got a video, a music video that shows a thing called sledgehammer, and the sledgehammer is an outline of a people or humanoid kind of deal, and it's filled with stars. That's all there's there. Well, this is what this was, and that's who taught me a lot of things.
Wow. Okay. Someone's asking the name of your Facebook page, and I assume that they mean Cosmic Voice.
Yes, that's the only Facebook page we got.
Okay.
Now, I got American National Militia, but I haven't used that real recently, but I'm going to make it explode here shortly.
Good. Okay. Some say Donald Trump is a time traveler. Is there any truth to that? And if it's true, can you explain that?
No.
No, he's not a time traveler, or no, you
Exactly.
can't? Oh, okay. What about his son?
No.
Okay. Well, the information is out there because I've seen it. Okay. In his latest update titled Blue Dawn, Cobra stated that only one layer of plasma toplet bombs remains after the successful mass meditation on January 12th. Why doesn't he schedule another mass meditation for the final removal and be done with it?
I want you to ask him, see what he's got to say.
No, I didn't read that question ahead of time, so
Well, that's what I do. I mean,
Exactly.
The thing about it is that the rest of the explosive devices can't operate.
Good.
That comes from upstairs, not me.
Okay. This was something I want to know too, because I've read things, and that is, how does the physical chimera group look? What do they look like?
The which?
Chimera, Chimera, chimera.
I think that it is a chameleon sort of shape-shifting group that can look any way they really please. In other words, they can look just like average person on the street, or if they were dealing with something that was different, they'd look presentable to that entity. Okay?
Yeah, I read somewhere that they look like a spider-like creature, so I don't know.
Well, they are part of the insectoid group, but that's, as I said, they're shape-shifting. They can alter what they look like.
Cobra also says that there's a gradual meltdown of the financial system. Says that the gradual meltdown is not an option anymore. When it happens, it will be sudden and brutal. What's true? Then what change?
We're gonna have a slow meltdown towards that. Somewhere around the middle of the year, you can expect it all for it to fall over.
Okay, so then what will become of not just the union and promised government and retirement and state pensions, but also military pensions, Social Security, and 401ks?
We go to a cashless society where you get a card just like you use for food stamps right now, and it gets charged up to X amount. And that's what you got to deal with. Cashless society precludes all of the things mentioned.
Well, people have a real problem with that because they think in terms of like the credit system in China, and I just don't think that.
This is new. This is not something anybody's ever done before. But when it goes to that point, you can actually elicit cash by the use of the card. All this will be explained when it's time. All right?
And it's not a nefarious thing in any way, correct?
No, it's a good thing.
I thought. Okay. I don't think it would be fair to tell me and these taxpayers who have worked and contributed all these years that everything we made cannot be recuperated and we should start over like everyone else. What do you have to say about that? Well, I'm going to say something about that. We have to be concerned about the highest good for all people concerned. And this has a self-realization.
Well, here's the deal. What happens if everybody's going to get a certain X amount according to whatever level they achieved? Okay, that would mean that you're not going to need about 70 to 80% of what you get, whatever you got stuffed under the mattress, in the coffee can, the backyard, or whatever. Okay, which means that you can take that 80% and change somebody's life totally with it. Bingo! Now you got that. Now you're going to get that. I seen that light bulb in your eyeballs.
Okay. Now we're back to the Senate impeachment trial.
Oh, goody.
Couldn't verify that if the House impeaches but the Senate does not, a president's term will not be counted, and he would be eligible to run for 2 more full terms. Is that true?
Yes.
Oh, okay. The American Dream, formerly named Xanadu, recently opened right next to the MetLife Stadium in northern New Jersey. It took 10 years to complete. Was something nefarious going on during that 10 years, like underground facilities?
No, not really.
Okay. Is it true that the real Pope has been imprisoned by the cabal and replaced with a clone?
Which one's been replaced?
The Pope.
Well, let's put it this way. The Pope wasn't exactly real to begin with, so I'm going to leave that one alone.
Chew on that one for a while, eh? I'm not a fan of the Pope anyway, so.
No. Any guy who wears a dress is suspicious to me.
With a fish head on it, too. What kind of role, if any, will the Pope play when the transition and disclosure takes place?
He won't have an office any longer, and there won't be any churches, so he's kind of out of a job. Might see him down at Mickey D's flipping burgers. He don't know.
He won't be any better than anybody else, will he?
Got it.
Do you know how to remote view?
Yes.
Is it possible for someone to learn how to do that?
Read my books. It's in there.
Okay. Well, your books are online, so it's there.
Yeah, well.
I don't went on to say, do you have any person, DVD, or website you can recommend? Well, read the books.
Read the books. What the deal is, people don't understand. You go through a book at one of the books, and it's liable to seem like the most esoteric horse manure you ever run across in your life. Oh, that was an easy read. Next. No. What it is that each volume is a study material that you are required to become proficient in before you can go to the next one. Oops.
You know, Drake, I was thinking about something. I don't know how you would feel about this, but what if we went through each book online together with the audience and
You're talking about a collegiate level course that would take about it'd take considerable time for each book, but it also would last for about 2 years.
Oh, 2 years.
I'm talking about the time involved in specification application in terms of one book could take several days.
Mm-hmm. Well,
even the beginning book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's feasible, but I was thinking it might be helpful to people that, maybe they don't.
Well, what they want to do is they want to continually read and reread. In terms of study, the study is applying what each one of the books contains. As they do that, some of them will run across problems. Sometimes a person is going to have to beat their head against the wall several times before it dawns on something upstairs that they need to do it in a different way. This is very common in these things, okay? A lot of people want to do that because it's a fad and it's cool. Well, guess what? It don't work that way. So as it goes along, we just let it progress and see what happens. We might be able to have little sessions where people send in questions, and if you get a little block of the same sort of question about a certain part of a book, then we go in and teach that. That would be a lot quicker, a lot better, and less time consuming. Okay?
Okay. Well, that's something for people to think about. We'll put that out there. And I have no more questions at this time.
Yay!
So we made it through another session, and I'd like to thank you very much. You're
very welcome. That means I can go to the bathroom now. I've been
Yes.
Are we having fun yet? I mean, I know I get you busting up laughing.
One of the other things we're going to do is I will post everything about the visual and for the Violet Flame, and I'll bring that up and put that in the description so people can take a look at that. And
Okay, now do me a favor on this vigil. Put that together in an email and send it to me, please. And I'll make sure that now you can go ahead and post if you want on Cosmic Voice. It doesn't matter, but I want to post it as well because that gives it a lot of validity.
Okie doke. Oh, are you saying I don't have validity? No, I'm just. No, I think that's a great idea. We'll both do it. Thank you.
I'm looking for my validity, and I don't see any down my shirt.
I don't have a badge either, so oh well. All I do is try to tell the truth, as best we know it, So thank you, everyone. We'll say goodbye for this week, and Drake can say goodbye too. And
hey, bye. Y'all behave.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.